Hello, my name is Alexandra Shane. I'll be giving my informative speech. Today I'm going to tell you how the Chinese central government has said that the Hong Kong protest is considered the worst crisis in Hong Kong since the handover in 1997. The Hong Kong protest is an ongoing series of demonstrations in Hong Kong, which started out with the aim to oppose the introduction of the Fugitive Offenders Amendment Bill proposed by the Hong Kong government. The protest started back in March against plans to allow individuals to extradite to China. The 2019 Hong Kong protest is also known as the Anti-Extradition Law Amendment Bill movement. Here's some background history on Hong Kong. The Hong Kong was once a part of the United Kingdom until 1997, when the British colony gave control of the territory back to China. According to www.hongkongfp.com, the Sino-British Declaration said Hong Kong would be a special administration region of China and will retain its freedom and way of life for 50 years after the handover on July 1st, 1997. Years after China regained Hong Kong, citizens feared that they would lose independence as China started tightening its grip on them. Now that we have discussed Hong Kong's history, let's move on to the protest. The protest began March 31st, 2019, and was caused by the Fugitive Offenders and Mutual Legal Assistance in Criminal Matter Legislation Amendment Bill by the Hong Kong government. This bill will let the government detain and deport criminal fugitives who are wanted in areas with which Hong Kong does not currently have deported agreement, including Taiwan and the mainland of China. The Hong Kong protesters began in March, but on June 9th, when the first hearing for the bill was scheduled, it evolved into a mass movement, even breaking history with over 478 people. According to www.wberrazeg.com, as the protest progressed, the protesters laid out 5 key demands, and which included investigation to alleged police misconduct and resumption of democratic reforms that were promised in the Sino-British Joint Declaration. On June 12th, the bill was scheduled for a second hearing, but the protesters showed an escalation in violence. Hong Kong police officers deployed tear gas and rubber bullets at the rioters, but the rallies pushed through and successfully stalled the hearing. The bill was suspended on June 15th, but protesters showed no mercy, and they decided on June 16th to shift their focus on what the Hong Kong police offenders did to them on June 12th, saying that the police officers used excessive force and Hong Kong protesters weren't going to stand by and let that happen. According to www.wberrazeg.com, a scholar on field gave an independent estimate of 500,000 to 800,000 people. And the police reported that 338,000 people marched at this protest. On July 1st, rallies stormed and vandalized the Legislative Council complex with central government symbols. The effect of the Hong Kong protest: back in August, one activist received an injury to the eye, which led protesters to wear a red-colored eye patch to show their solidarity. Hong Kong leaders Carrie Lam agreed to suspend the bill in June and declared it dead, but she lied. On September 4th, she again announced that she would formally suspend in October. This time she didn't lie. Carrie Lam withdrew the bill on October 23rd. On October 15th, the United States House of Representatives unanimously proposed the Hong Kong Human Rights and Democracy Act during a voice vote. First, the Hong Kong citizens have been protesting for more than half a year. Second, there have been a record of 10 fatalities during the protest, and these 10 people committed suicide. Finally, as of August 15th, there have been over 2,000 plus injuries, and as of October 10th, there have been over 2,379 arrests. In conclusion, the protesters of Hong Kong have been working hard for more than half a year for their rights, and according to www.thenation.com. What started this long wave of discontent has been the clumsy attempt by the fourth chief executive of Hong Kong, Carrie Lam, to introduce an extradition bill that would have made it possible to send criminal suspects to face trial in China at the request of the Chinese authorities. In doing so, she inadvertently reignited the Hong Kongers' determination to fight for their rights, which had been lying dormant since the end of the Umbrella Movement occupation in December 2014. Rallies advocating for the Hong Kong movement has spread across the world, with protests taking in the UK, France, US, and Canada, and even Australia. As of today, Hong Kong protest movement is still burning brightly. I sure hope they get what they've been fighting for.